I really like the guiding principles our Office of Teaching has come up with: human connection, AI literacy, personal accountability, and data privacy and security. All of them are to the point where Reis was talking on the other day, right? So it's not just
Steve Stroll here for Franklin Matters, Franklin Public Radio, available anywhere, anytime in your browser. Yes, here's your browser at WFPR.FM and in the local Franklin, Mass. FM radio dial, knobs, button, whatever it is. You can preset, hopefully, 102.9 is the magic number. Preset it and you'll always have it ready for you. Here today in our glorious studio with a couple of school committee members to talk about the last school committee meeting. Steve Karunakaran, how are you doing today?
Great, Steve. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm happy to discuss what happened in the previous meeting.
Excellent. And Reis Hansen. Reis, how are you doing?
Hi, Steve. Good to see you again. I'm doing well. I'll tell you, I'm quite sore. Between Strawberry Stroll Friday, Kickball with Franklin Fathers on Sunday, and then Field Day at Lincoln Street today. It's been a lot of activity. Good stuff, but a
lot of physical activity.
Yes, sleeping well.
A good way to recover from that. Yes, definitely. Yeah, it was a little bit warmer than it probably could have been on Friday, and we all suffered through that. But at least Sunday, there was a bit of a breeze, and it was nice and cooler. Still kind of warm, but you were exercising, playing kickball, so that was all good.
Never bothered about it. And just to let you know, both the days, the school committee members who went and got the space for us was amazing space. The Friday, it was on the other side of the sun, so we didn't get the direct sun, if you remember, Reis. The opposite side was getting a direct sun. And on the Sunday, it was on the corner, closer to the shade, and we had a good setup there. Yes. Thanks to the people who are there, to set up those tents and make our life a little easier.
Get there and squat early and make sure you get the good spot.
Well, you didn't spend a lot of time under the tent anyway, though. You were out in the street making sure everyone got their calendar magnets for our school year next year, making sure everyone knew about the new programs we're running. You were really you were working hard. Another phrase comes to mind, but I'm not going to say that one on the radio.
No, it was a fun event. I was impressed. I think, and I don't know how they can calculate it, but if anything, it felt like more people this year than last year.
I saw something that said we did have more this year than last year, which I would have thought the temperatures might have kept some people away. And one of the cool things, too, is people would come to our tent and we'd ask, are you in Franklin Public Schools? No, they're here from Rentham. They're here from
it doesn't draw just
all over.
Franklin. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we noticed that from some of the other booths, Clay with the Franklin TV, with Ben for Franklin because we're talking zoning and building equitable neighborhoods. We can get some conversations with others because it's a similar problem. But you find out very quickly that not everybody there is from Franklin.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to people later, it's like, Strawberry Stroll? What's that? It's like, you weren't there. There's enough people to show up. But
it's a very cool thing that it brings people from all around to Franklin to enjoy what we offer here.
Right. And then at least for the rest of the summer, we'll have the farmers market, concerts on the Common. But before we get there, of course, the World Cup watch party on Wednesday, Thursday, and then the 4th of July Tuesday through Sunday is going to be bonkers on the Common. So, there's a lot happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're going to talk about what happened once upon a time. It seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't that. It was June 9th.
Just a week back.
So there were 2 meetings that night. We'll focus on the school committee meeting, and you did a couple of things, starting with, at least from not necessarily in order, but you reviewed the school superintendent.
Yeah, we did. And actually, Steve, you're on the superintendent subcommittee, so you might be able to give more kind of background info about what what leads up to that. But I can speak to the process as it played out during the meeting. Is that beforehand we all received a form from our chair, Paul Griffith, that stepped through both the 4 categories of goals as we had defined them with the superintendent as a school committee.
Right.
Previously, when I say we, Stephen and I were actually not on committee at that time, but
Right.
And then also the 4 criteria for evaluation as defined by the state. And for each, we're asked to give the superintendent a rating on how well he met the goals or how well he's doing according to those assessment criteria provided by the state, and to give both commendations and recommendations. So essentially, here's what we've recognized is going well, and here's what we'd like to see him focus on in the future.
Yeah, just to add to that, right? So this year been after moving to this new redistricting, and
Right.
there are a lot of challenges in front of everyone, and I
Sure.
think the superintendent did an amazing job.
Yep.
So he was rated as proficient on the overall rating, and then he was able to showcase almost all the categories that we had. Like we had strengthen community and team, building systems and structures, align instructional practices, and enhance communications. All these 4 areas he has been evaluated, and then as Reis mentioned, so we had a transparent evaluation remarks that has been shared with superintendent, and then we had a good conversation about what needs to be the focus for the upcoming year and what all. So everybody had a lot of comments, and one good thing is, Reis, if you know, it was anonymous feedback form,
Right.
and the feedback was not common. It was like everywhere, like meaning everybody had focus on different areas, and that was a good collection of feedback for him to start working on next year. So one feedback I really enjoyed, which the committee member Al Charles said, is about basically he was saying we should have 2 types of goals. One is the superintendent goal, and then one should be an individual goal for superintendent. One
Just
the superintendent goals is like personal goals,
much more personal.
Yeah, much more personal. And we were discussing Al and myself on the Strawberry Stroll that day. That should be more of a goal for us too, like as a school committee member. Like
Right.
what we need to achieve is set as an individual goal for the superintendent, so that he can work with us, so that we can also be part of it, and then get evaluated on both the sides. And the other side, the regular state mandated goals, and then how to improve those things. Like most of them, there were evidences everywhere. Like Lucas was able to provide all the evidences that is needed, but at the same time, some of them needs to come with a little bit of more data. That was one of the feedback that we gave him on that day. So it's what, like, instead of saying we have achieved 80%, we should say what does that 80% translate to, and how are we, like, if you're preparing a policy documentation, say how many policies we updated, how many policies we introduced, something add to more flavor to it. And then we also add another comment like a timeline. So most of these things says on track, and some of them says in progress, but we don't know when it is going to complete. What is the timeline for this, right? So these are some of the feedbacks which will definitely we will focus on next year, and then make it more time sensitive, and then so that we can have a end-to-end visibility of how we started and how we ended, with value points on like the quantitative analysis that we can do. And it was very, in my opinion, this is my first year, and I really enjoyed, because the way in corporate industry the performance rating happens is totally different.
I'm sure we've all had experiences in different ways.
But this one is like more of a group effort when we did the evaluation, and it's a group effort for Lucas as well in order to complete the achievements.
Correct.
Like it's not just one person effort, but it's the administrative team plus the school administration team and the teachers. It goes up to the end of the the staff where they participate in that, and then we see the outcome. So we saw a lot of improvements this year, right? Like if you see when we spoke before the elections, like we focused on my election campaign was focused on AI specific. My election campus was focused on non-reduction of any staff and things like that. We very well achieved almost everything this year as a at least we initiated in most of the cases. So I was happy to be part of this team, and to be part of this whole school committee where we are going towards some progressive approach on addressing some of our concerns, or not concerns, I would say the opportunities that we have in general.
Yeah, because even from my perspective, reporting year over year, this particular committee, I think, has the breadth of some unique backgrounds across the 7 of you that weren't necessarily present in some of the others. So you're at least leveraging that uniqueness in this feedback piece, because you get your different points of view, which is all well and good. You're coming together on that. The other piece too, and I think they referenced it, I didn't get into the greater details, but at least when they implement curriculum, sometimes it's a phased program. They introduce a first phase, then they do another phase, and then they do another phase. So that kind of phasing getting reflected into the goal and the objectives would make that much more understandable. Okay, we're in phase 2 of 3. Yeah. We've done 80% of it, et cetera. Right.
Yeah, that's the transparency is really coming out very well, especially with this evaluation that we did.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and considering that between the redistricting, a couple of tough budgets, a relatively straightforward budget, he's had a lot on his plate.
100%.
And he's done rather well with that. So
especially with the winter that we had this time. He was on the roads with the shovel, and he was very famous for that, because morning kids have to be in the school within that 2 hours delay, and he was there on the ground and working with all the others and getting things done, making sure the buses comes on time and kids are in school on time. That's commendable effort from the administrative team.
Right. For sure, yeah. And he certainly leads a quality team in all the kinds of conversations across, whether it's Dr. Rogers or Ms. Morano and others. He really has a good bench of people that are really, really good. So
that's right.
It's reflected in his survey as well. So
I absolutely agree. I find the team very receptive, communicative. Taking feedback as feedback and not taking it as personal attacks or anything like that, which makes it so easy to share ideas with the team. And one of the things Lucas had said during the meeting is he mentioned feeling grateful that he has a supportive school committee, and I'm very glad to hear that. Yeah. I don't have a lot of insight into what other school committees look like, so I guess that's not the norm, at least not in all places.
Right. Yeah, and that's one good point, I think, because I don't think it's ever been discussed, at least in my almost 20 years of reporting, a school committee considering their own self-evaluation.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, at least reporting, and then certainly wearing the citizen's hat, and having been part of other organizations, certainly in the corporate world, you need to self-evaluate. If you set out to do something, in many corporate environments I was in, you had your self-evaluation, then your management evaluation, sometime you had a team evaluation. But if you don't know your own goals, you can go anywhere. Right. You can do anything. And was it the right stuff in the right time? And to a certain extent, when you look back at some of the things the district did over time, well, it took us a while to finally get to the redistricting. And I think if they had been willing to bite off more to chew at the beginning to do the full piece, because I thought they could do, or it seemed like in retrospect now, they thought they could accomplish it by doing just this, and it turned out they needed to do that as well. And then they really needed to do that as well, which delayed the decision. So had those school committees in those times been evaluating, maybe we would have gotten a little bit closer. But that's, water under the bridge. We're not going to worry about it. But if you can set up a process for you and then going forward, go for it. I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah. I've found, and I've said to others, one of the challenges that I found being on school committee is that every other kind of endeavor I've taken in my life that is, has some level of seriousness to it, there's somebody who is a mentor or a supervisor giving direct feedback. Here, you have your colleagues, and that's kind of it. And obviously, constituents will let you know if you've upset them. Right. But when it comes to kind of assessing, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing a good job? It very much is internal and conversations with other committee members.
Yeah, that'd be something interesting to look at, because I know the Associated School Committees, of which our representative is fairly active in helping you with the Chapter 70 and evaluation and things of that sort, whether they have that kind of mentor role. To a certain extent, from what I've seen, respectfully, people, after they've done their time, they just want to go.
Yeah.
But there are those that, you can learn from those lessons.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and I have found, though, that the former school committee members are still out there, still involved, and maybe not all of them. I don't know everyone who's been on school committee here, but I think Sue Rohrbach.
Some are more visible than others, for sure.
Yes. Right. Yeah. She was. I know she had time on committee, and obviously she's got her TV show now here in Franklin. Erin Gallagher just on the committee. Yeah. She's just down at the Children's Museum.
She left the committee to go focus on that, which is nothing wrong with that part.
Elise Stokes is still working with the schools through the School Wellness Advisory Committee, or SWAC as it's called.
Yes.
So there are former committee members out there that when I've asked them about just thoughts on something, that they've been very receptive to that. So that's been great.
I would like to give credit to the chair, Dr. Griffith, because he has done a tremendous effort on getting this evaluation done, because we did our part best, and then he prepared the full documentation with transparency without using AI. That's what he said. And he has done a great job. He has put a lot of effort in terms of getting this rightly addressed, without hurting or harming anyone, and the right feedbacks were given. He picked and chosen all different kinds of feedback he has got, and then under different categories, and prepared the document. I just wanted to give that credit to him, like he has done a tremendous effort on getting that document.
Yeah. No, good. I think the committee as a whole, I think, as I mentioned, you've got the diversity. He's managed to bring you together to accomplish some good stuff.
Exactly.
And that takes leadership. That takes work. So. And then, going into the second piece, you had an update from Colin on the facilities, both a review of, for those who may have missed, all the move parts that happened before the redistricting, and then, now that that's been done, there's still a bunch of things that are left on the to-do list, some of which will get done this summer, some of which are still going to be, required further evaluation and/or funding, but at least they're on a plan at some point to be tackled somewhere.
I'll start off. Maybe Reis can join on that. On the facilities update, right? So I was impressed how that facilities team was, embedded throughout the redistricting journey. They didn't have a summer. They had to work over the summer in phases, getting things out and moving the schools and not disturbing any activities in that school, because he was specifically saying they had to wait until some of the summer activities planned on these different schools. Because they use certain
schools for the summer sessions.
And they did a tremendous effort on bringing every classroom, every equipment's needed. And I mean, I've not heard any issues. When we did the last year, beginning of this year, when we did the school walkthrough, there was no complaint about the redistricting movement. Like, I didn't get this, mine is stuck there, I don't have my furniture. We didn't get even a single complaint on that. So we got certain complaints which are outside of the redistricting. So that's the involvement of the facilities team. That's the involvement they showed in terms of making, because very first day when they walk in, and if they are not happy and if the things are not in right place, it is not just the teachers, right? It is also the students who are in the classroom is going to be impacted. So they consider each and everything. So that's a tremendous effort from the facilities team. I think we had the other night, we had Colin and two others. Do you remember their names?
Kevin Harn
Kevin and John
from the facilities department.
Yeah, facilities department.
So they did reinforcing the collaboration between town and school sites. Because clearly facilities, I think they say, what is it, 1 million of them? I think it's 1 million of the 1.2 million square footage is schools. And the rest is the town. So, it's a big bulk part, and there's very close coordination between facilities department and schools. I see they have a very good system in place where they track all these work orders and make sure they are addressed on time. I mean, I was impressed to see their metrics as well, like 356 classrooms, which has been moved during this last summer, and then made sure everything is in place. And then some of the outside the classroom improvements have been done. Some of the field areas and things like that. So
lot of work has been done, and the technology side they're working on some of the improvements for the access control. We had some questions there, but no, I think they're planning for some of the new system to be implemented.
Sure.
And so they have a continuous. No, it's not just something you set up a goal and finish it off and then I'm done with that. No, it's not like that. It's activity. So the way they see the things, right? The boilers or the heating, cooling capacity, everything they take care, and then they make sure they take the right decision when to change, when to repair, when to operate it with a lower number of boilers. I mean, they had a tremendous I would say knowledge on that, so that they make sure without impacting the school community, they were able to make this progress.
Yep. And now with students out of the classrooms, now it's crunch mode for them to get it done before September.
Yeah,
absolutely right. And I want to add also one thing Kevin mentioned during the meeting, which I highlighted, but is so meaningful to me as a citizen here or a resident here, is that he sees the work of the facilities department as a reflection of himself. So he cares about getting the job done and getting the job done right.
Right.
And there sure were a lot of jobs that he got done. Steve mentioned the 356 classrooms, and that's before the school year started.
Yeah.
And then we've got everything that got done during the school year, and I won't run through it all. The presentation is linked off of the agenda online. And so if anybody wants to see a list of everything that facilities got done, it's there. And then we're looking forward to what's coming up with the planned projects and their corresponding funding sources. A lot of great things to look forward to. But one in particular that I wanted to highlight, because it's been there's a lot that's happened with it recently, is the auditorium renovation at the middle school.
Bit of a moving target.
Yes. So when council did reviewed the budget and approved capital expenditures, they allocated some funds toward that auditorium renovation. So thank you to the town council for doing that. But before that even happened, at last Tuesday's meeting, Celia Courtwright came up for citizens' comments and shared that she's secured a $25,000 donation match. And so that's phenomenal. And we need to get that $25,000 in there so that can get matched. Steve, if I can get you a link to like a donation for the show notes, that
we can include that in the show notes. I believe I've already shared it, but we can certainly include it in the show notes.
Oh, great! And you already have the link, so I don't need to get it to you.
Yeah.
Great.
Not a problem. Yeah, we've shared the capital plan before, and I think the other piece within that adds to the funding is the earmark.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
So it still hasn't come yet, but there's a sense that it will happen because, oh, by the way, the legislature is also up for election this year, so they're generally not going to let earmarks go at this point in time. So
right,
that's right.
Yeah. So that's a moving target, and some of that work, from what I understand, at least during the council discussions, simply because of the timing, you're not going to be able to get the procurement done, get the contractors, et cetera, in before September. But at least we get the funding, more stuff happening. They can set it up and do it right, and then do it at a time when it's appropriate. So, yeah.
And I'm very much aware how much useful is that for our students, and especially who are in the performing arts, because I just did mention this in one of the meeting, right? During one of the Footlighter show, the lighting went off, and they had to take time to fix it for like 30 minutes or so.
Ouch.
They couldn't fix it, and then eventually, they had to turn on the full light and run the remaining show. So I mean, that's something
that
definitely
affects the performance.
Yeah, so that's something this will definitely help our the performing arts students who are actively using that those auditoriums for their plays and for their rehearsals and everything. That will be definitely helpful for them. And thanks to the earmark funding, thanks to the people who are sponsoring, and thanks to all the town council members who are approving the money. Right, so it's very important for them to excel in what what they're doing. So it is
Right.
it's like if you don't have a proper track, you can't have a good athlete. So same thing, right? If you don't have a proper auditorium, you cannot expect a good performance.
Correct.
So it's, I would say, equally, we also have problems with some of our tracks, but we are trying to make sure we're repairing it, but this one is not like that. This is a little bit more sophisticated, and we need to make sure they have the right equipments and right lighting and audio equipments to make the programs go well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the track and tennis courts are on upcoming projects pending CPA funding.
Yes.
So we can look forward to hopefully securing that CPA funding and making those changes too. But also to your point about the need for a good functional auditorium is that we recently approved a new policy related to renting out spaces in the schools, and certainly a well-functioning, modernized auditorium is an attractive prospect for outsiders to come and can pay some money to the schools that we can put back into continuing to maintain and update what we provide to our students and community here.
Absolutely.
Yep. So that was facilities. And then I think the third key topic is one near and dear to all three of us in terms of artificial intelligence. And you got an update in terms of what the kind of the working group had started doing and come up with kind of the 4 principles, and there's still a bunch of work to be done. But it was at least a point-in-time update to, if people weren't aware, there's some work being done, and it's rather impressive so far.
That's again, I was mentioning before, right? During the campaign also we discussed about it, how to get the technology for our student community. And we have a lot of pros and cons, we spoke in the meeting as well. But at the same time, the schools are the place where we can teach them what is right, what is wrong, and how to use and how not to use and things like that. So that's where we are, right? So I was very happy to see the Office of Teaching coming and presenting to us with whatever the analysis, the research that they've done, and the presentation was done using AI. That was impressive. They mentioned that in the presentation. And all the 4 key topics that we had, mainly the surveys that we sent, we see a good positive response from the community on using the AI. Most of the 91% of families are familiar with the AI tools, which is good. Whoever responded to this community, and the surveys, 87% of students are already using AI for their daily work and things like that.
That can be concerning too.
At least the thing is, they are aware of it. I see the positive side of it. They are aware of it. It's not like, because in this continuous advancement of technology, AI plays a very vital role. So I can say, from my perspective, from my experience point of view, right? The basic, earlier we used to write the basic coding, right? We have to use the syntax, we need to know the syntax, we need to write the code and make sure it works. And now the basic code and everything is taken care of the AI. The tools are making our lives easier. It's just the business logic that we have to embed in it and then make sure it works on the business logic. So it eases some of our work, and at the same time we have to we need to know how to use it. So that's what I was saying. The students are at least they know how to use it, and that's why we have this committee. We have this governing process and the guardrails to say, yes, you can use it, but with all these guardrails in place. Now, I was talking to the other administrative team. They were saying that they are in process of working with Google on getting the Google AI for our schools and making sure.
I think she said Gemini as well.
Yeah, Gemini.
It's already part of it.
But
Maps is not, which was odd. That was an exception, but I'm sure Google will figure that out eventually. The other piece from my perspective, at least, relieved some of my concern was that student data agreement is required.
Yes.
Part of the evaluation of bringing any tool that they use software-wise into the school system to begin with.
Yeah.
That at least provides that basic level of protection.
Correct.
around the data privacy, et cetera. If the tool doesn't have it, then the tool doesn't commit. Now, if somebody uses it outside the school, that's a different story.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, Dr. Rogers was the one who I was talking to. So she was mentioning it very clearly on these guardrails that they're building, and then the tools that they're bringing in. So there are a lot of work has to happen from now on till the implementation. But I see a good progress over there since last few months. They put a lot of effort in analyzing and then making sure come up with a list of principles where they need to focus and how they need to implement. That is tremendous. Now that's tremendous effort from the Office of the Teaching, and Dr. Rogers were leading that effort and making sure. She said she's going to give a presentation. I didn't expect the last week it was but she said she's going to give that presentation before the end of the year, and we saw that. I'm so happy to see that presentation last week, and thanks to the Office of Teaching and the effort they put in on getting this AI implementation started for our Franklin schools.
Sure. Yeah. It's going to be a road for sure. Hopefully not too bumpy. They've at least got enough of a process, I think, to alleviate the bumps as we go.
Yeah, I think so. Dr. Rogers has assembled a really great team, and I want to thank the educators out there who are not part of the administrative team, but have given their time to helping with this process, and taking the time to be really thoughtful about what does Franklin Public Schools AI policy look like, what does AI use in Franklin Public Schools look like, and how do we best serve our students to help them be able to navigate, not just to navigate AI, but to navigate a world with AI.
Right. Yeah.
Because that is another kind of big thing that looms over everything, is that there's the educational piece, but then there's also the broader context of a world with AI. But I'll say, like you, Stephen, when I pulled up the agenda to look at what we were doing in a few days, and I was like, we'll see the superintendent's report, and then I was like, oh, AI, okay, all right, so it's time, and I'm glad that we got that update, and it's clear that the work is really challenging, and they're rising to the challenge, and that I feel like has been clear to me, both in terms of what they presented, how they're approaching determining policy, and just in some kind of off-camera conversations with Dr. Rogers as well, where it's very evident that there's they recognize the scope of this undertaking, and it's a big one.
Yeah. And I think just fostering, and you mentioned it before, clearly education, that's the forefront of what we should be doing, speaking on behalf of an education. This is what we should be doing. How to use the tool. I mean, a hammer is a hammer, but not everything is a nail.
That's right.
Right? And you need to not just use the tool, but then be able to query and understand what the answers are given to you. Right? So if it lists the resources and you can validate the resources, okay, that may be fine. But if you can't validate the resources, then maybe you don't take it. Right?
Right. And that's exactly along the lines of what's so important for students to understand, is making sure that they know where the information's coming from. Is this information provided by having scraped textbooks, newspapers, whatever, or did it scrape some Reddit threads and here's your affirmative history of the world provided by AI. And one of the things I spoke to when I commented on the process is the need for students to understand that with AI systems, that it is possible that there is some data intentionally excluded from what they're seeing.
Right.
And that it's important for them to understand how to find that information otherwise. And we're looking at a shift, where Google is changing its model from here are places you might find this information to here is the answer you're looking for.
Yes.
There's a real risk there that our students need to be aware of and understand that can't be their stopping point when they're looking for accurate information.
No. Certainly as a member of the media trying to put out accurate and timely info, I'm not sure where they're going to get the info if they don't come to me. so, it's just like, wait a sec, where is that coming from? Yeah. How did you get that? So, it's going to be an interesting navigation, but we're in it. We just have to figure it out how to do it best.
Yeah, I mean, the students should know AI can also hallucinate and give some wrong information. So one day, so it's just a funny incident. One day I was going my Tesla, and Tesla has a Grok app in it, and then just I turned on and said, hey, how's the weather? And it was like 30s or something, and the Tesla was saying that it's 67, it's a nice weather. I said, do you really say it's Franklin is 67? And then I'm sorry, I was like overwhelmed with some of the responses. So that's the hallucination, or I don't know how it arrives at the data. So that's where the students have to be. So one of the guiding principles they mentioned, right, the human connection. AI is supplemental, not the replacement for education, or also not a replacement for critical thinking and ownership. That messaging, that education is more important for our students, so that they understand that AI is just a supplement. I'm writing my essay, and then I'm just maybe using it for my formatting or something like that, right? So instead of writing the whole essay in the using the AI, so that level of awareness should be there for our students. So I really like the guiding principles our Office of Teaching has come up with: human connection, AI literacy, personal accountability, and data privacy and security. All of them are to the point where Reis was talking on the other day, right? So it's not just we are excited to introduce, but we are also making sure we are introducing with caution, we are introducing with more guardrails, so that the usage of it will be, will have a will be righteous. That's what I see that the guiding principles are going to help us in terms of framing this. And I'm also very excited because this was I was talking to Paul the other day about having a separate subcommittee for this AI subcommittee. I think everybody liked that idea, so I think we might look into some option of having a subcommittee for AI, so that we can be more involved. And of course, Reis and myself and whoever is on the others from the committee can, even if whether we are there in the committee or not, we can be part of this, the feedbacks and part of the education process, because we are also learning every day. So we can also be part of it and make sure we give right thing to our community.
Because it sounds like there may be, whether it's multiple paths or at least awareness of multiple paths, the educators, the teachers, the parents, but then we also sit in different roles within that as well, because you're oversight for the educators. You're also parents. You should be in there in some way. So whether it's a formal committee or an ad hoc relationship or a liaison, there needs to be more. And I think the other piece was there's going to be some form, I think, for anybody who has interest in it to just raise your hand, reach out and say, I want to be involved.
Yes.
And
the committee's been very, the soliciting parent feedback through that. So the survey that was sent out was really just the first step of engaging the community in this process. And Steve, I like your proposal that 2/3 of the AI subcommittee is here in the room right now. That would work for me. And I think one of the things that I don't know, I'm struggling with, or I'm kind of wrestling with in my mind is the thinking about educating students about navigating AI and understanding how to think critically and essentially insulate themselves against the manipulative nature of AI.
Yes.
And some might say, well, that's not the role of the schools, and maybe there's some there is some truth to that, but also where else is it going to happen? How where else do we help our students learn this information?
Exactly.
And I appreciate the example you gave of your Tesla and giving the wrong temperature, because like what stands out about the interaction is like, oh no, like, oh, I'm sorry, like, the tool is trying to facilitate a relationship with its user,
right?
And that is wholly unique. And so, like, we as humans, we become attached to our tools anyhow.
Right.
I have a stack of broken drumsticks at home, and you go to a pizza place and you see the first shovel mounted on the wall,
right?
And so I actually, my grandfather was a carpenter, and I have his saw that was, I think one of the first he had is from like the 60s,
historic,
but it was built well, and he used it as long as he could,
right.
And so we're already prone to having emotional connections with our tools, and when the tool then is trying to facilitate that, that then opens a window for us to be manipulated by our tools.
True.
And that's really concerning to me. And part of like kind of my messaging around AI has been is that like AI is not a friend, and it wants to be your friend,
right?
And we don't need our tools to apologize to us. We need our tools to do the job. We need the tools to not tell us it's 67 when it's 30 degrees.
Right.
But it is seeking forgiveness instead of just like, oh, this was, I say it's a failure state. Like it's not a hallucination. It is the tool failed to do what it was meant to. And it seems like we've got a much larger tolerance for that with AI than we would with other things.
Yeah. And that's where I think, and I've started seeing some things in the media where AI as an umbrella term probably needs to start getting split out, because it is not everything. It has been evolving, but maybe it needs to be redefined to be more specific by use case. My line effectively in terms of the overall one is it's neither artificial nor intelligent. Deliberately, because you're constructing it with the data set. Now, is the data set scraped from everything on the web? In which case, we know everything on the web is not great.
Yeah.
So you got to take that with a grain of salt. The Algorithmic Justice League was developed by a student at MIT who started using a tool, and it wouldn't recognize her face because she was not white. When she put a white mask on, it recognized her face. So there is inherent bias built into some of the coding, and if people are not aware of that, then that, I think, is the role of the education, to make sure you're aware. What is the data set? How is it used? How is it structured? What's the answers, the resources, so you can check. And then you still have to have that, wait a minute, they said it was 30 degrees. No, it's 60 or the other way around. It's just, don't take everything just, it's got to be perfect. It's on the web.
That's why. Now, the guiding principle rightly said, right? AI is a supplemental. It is not something you can blindly trust and move forward. So that is the messaging has to be done to the students. And most of our students are bright and smart, but at the same time, we should have them know. We should emphasize this over and over so that it registers to their minds, and the usage of that will be really, for what we need, not for like everything.
Sure. Yeah. Because clearly, based upon even the high school graduation, clearly the cream of the crop were getting recognized, but that cream was very much gray cream at the top of the crop. That was impressive accomplishments. So we have a lot to be proud of. Anything else we need to talk about? I think that covered kind of the three basic pieces from the meeting.
Yeah, I think one thing I would like to just remind everyone about the bus registration. It ends on 6/18.
6/18.
That's the date. So whoever has not done the bus registration, go ahead and do the bus registration. If it is free, you would have received a Google form. If you are paying, then go to the link connect and then complete the registration, so that we'll not have any issues getting the spots for the next school year.
Right.
And the other thing which we learned from superintendent reporters, the high school representative reporters, this week and next week is the final exams for the Franklin High School. My son is also writing, so I wish a good luck for all of them.
Sure.
So they put a lot of effort throughout the year, and then they're trying to prove themselves over this final exam. So wishing good luck for all of them.
Yeah, and as the school year closes out, like you were at the field day today, I'm
yeah.
sure there's going to be other year-end celebrations, whether it's rising
Exactly.
from kindergarten or fifth grade, whatever, and other field days. So
Yeah.
be careful, be mindful, be healthy.
Yes.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah.
But enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking time to share. This has been good.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Steve. It's it's a pleasure to be here in the studio. Also, we've always recorded online, and we had the opportunity to come into the studio to record, and this has been great. I like being here in the space in person with you and Stephen to have this discussion.
No, this is a community service. The studio is, and it's a glorious place. I mean it seriously, which is why I say it, because it's an amazing place. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, thank you, Steve, for taking time on this, and thanks for the opportunity to walk through what happened in the previous meeting. And all these topics are like very close to us, and we're so excited to talk about it. We can go on for another hour too. But
well, that could be part two.
Maybe part two. And I think we have a lot of exciting things coming up next year, and I would just wanted to say, good luck for all the students and all the families. Have a wonderful summer, and get recharged and come back for the next school year.
Well, thank you again, and to the listeners, thank you for listening. And a quick reminder, we do this because Franklin matters. We are now producing this in collaboration with Franklin TV and Franklin Public Radio. This podcast is my public service effort for Franklin, but we can't do it alone. We can always use your help. How can you help? If you can use the information that you find here, please tell your friends and neighbors. If you don't like something here, please let me know. Through this feedback loop, we can continue to make improvements. And I thank you for listening. For additional information, please visit franklinmatters.org. If you have questions or comments, you can reach me directly at suresteve@gmail.com. The music for the intro and exit was provided by Michael Clark and the group East of Shirley. The piece is titled Ernesto Mañana, copyright Michael Clark and Tintype Tunes in 2008, and used with their permission. I hope you enjoy. By the way, you can also subscribe and listen to Franklin Matters Radio on your favorite podcast app. Search in podcasts for Franklin Matters.